Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Sneha Roo. I'm a palliative physician and the founder of Ori Kalankini. Ori Kalankini is an organization that's changing narratives around menstruation and sexuality in India using art, theatre, and dialogue. This series is called Leaning into the Network series, where we are bringing people from different parts of our network to meet each other, share skills, share their journey, and their specific COVID relief efforts. So today we have Dr. Divya with us to speak about oral health in menstruator using the life cycle approach. Welcome, Dr. Divya.
Thanks, Dr. Sneha. A very good afternoon to one and all, and I'm very happy to connect the amazing people over this platform. And I would like to thank Dr. Sneha for creating this unique platform.
Oh, thank you. Just to let you know that we are live on Facebook and last 15 minutes will be for question and answers. So as you listen to Dr. Divya's presentation, if you have any questions come up, please type it into the chat box. We will take it up during the last 15 minutes. Um, Dr. Divya, I wanted to ask you, we ask the same question to everyone who comes. When were you made aware of your gender? And how did your
Uh,
family system contribute to it or not?
Yeah. Sneha, I would like to share that I was very lucky regarding whatever the gender discussions used to happen at our house and the sexuality discussions from the early childhood. My family and friends were very progressive and they were open-minded and we used to always support regarding the gender discussions. And so I should say that it happened in the early childhood only and there was like no inhibitions or as such when they used to discuss with me regarding all these issues and topics.
Right. Thank you. You, apart from being a dental health expert, you also are very, very widely engaged. I have known and I have heard also about your work in the community sphere. So, can you talk about your community activities?
Yes, Neha. So I'm a dentist by profession, and I'm into this field since 10 years. And usually, it's my practice is not just limited to the clinic, just diagnosing the whatever the disease is there, like treating those diseases. I my main core value was always to spread the awareness regarding the dental issues in the society, especially in the Indian society. Lot of dental awareness is lacking even today. So first, I wanted to start with women and the menstruators, especially because oral health is is a mirror of the overall health for everyone. But especially in the menstruators, there are various hormonal changes occurring in the body that equally reflects in the oral health also. So it is very important for the menstruators to be aware of the various conditions affecting their oral health and in response to that, they need to be totally informed to take informed decisions for taking the oral hygiene measures properly and maintaining the oral health adequately. So I have been conducting many workshops and seminars for the various menstruators over the schools and colleges. Also, we say the change starts at home. So first session I was conducted was in my neighborhood only. First oral health awareness session for the menstruators. Then I have slowly started taking the sessions at my own clinic, and then I have started including the sessions at schools, colleges, and few like closed institutions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Divya. So now the mic is with you, and you can go ahead, take your webinar, and last 15 minutes I'll enter as a moderator to ask questions.
Sure, Sneha.
Thank
So I'd like to thank you one and all again for sparing your and spending your precious time with me so that I can share with you all the important aspects of the oral health in the menstruators, which is very important that every menstruator should be knowing because there are various phases in the life of the menstruator where many hormonal changes occurs which impact the whole body and obviously it impacts the oral cavity and the mouth also. So we should know what's happening in our mouth and how does it impact our tissues and the various parts of the mouth which helps in functioning the proper functioning of our oral cavity and so, broadly categorizing the life of a menstruator into three divisions, that is the pubertal stage, pregnancy stage, and the menopausal stage. So the menstruators have a special oral health requirements during the unique phases of these three stages in their lives. So I'll be starting first regarding the oral health in the pubertal stage, which ranges from 8 years to 13 years or 14 years also. So the main condition we see usually in the pubertal stage is the puberty gingivitis. It is nothing but the gum inflammation or the swelling. And the main cause of this puberty gingivitis condition is due to the increased levels of sex hormones that like estrogen and progesterone in the pubertal stage. This estrogen and progesterone interact with the gums. They make the gums to be more sensitive to the irritants like the dental plaque and other infection, any other source of infection in the oral cavity. So, what symptoms do we see during the pubertal stage? We can see the symptoms like reddish gums, reddish discoloration of the gums, the swollen gums, and the bleeding gums, which are very quite sensitive. And to the normal courses of the brushing or normal eating, also the gums tend to bleed many a time. So here you can see is the healthy gums. We can see it is normal light pink in color with no swelling or as such. But here this is a condition of puberty gingivitis where we can see the swollen erythematous like reddish discoloration of the gums and we can see the swelling. Here you can appreciate the swelling. So this condition is called the puberty gingivitis mainly because it occurs during the pubertal stage. So apart from the puberty gingivitis in the pubertal stage, we also encounter another very significant disorder that is specifically we can say it is a physiological and psychological change that is the bulimia and anorexia nervosa. So what is bulimia? Due to the various hormonal changes occurring during the pubertal stage, the menstruators, especially like they tend to overeat or do the binge eating on various junk food and excessive sugary substances. And in order to compensate the excessive calories, they try to induce to self-vomiting. And this causes a lot of damage to their teeth. And also this eating disorder causes a nutritional deficiencies also, which manifests as a pale appearance of the mouth, pale appearance of the tongue, gums, and also it's accompanied by the burning sensation of the mouth. So what do we do? Like how do a menstruator like adapt to these changes, overcome these changes, and minimize the risk of the pathological variations occurring due to these hormonal changes in the pubertal stage? So first and foremost is the preventive care, that is through the thorough effective oral hygiene measures, which I'll be discussing in detail at the end of this session. And also when the symptoms are severe, like the bleeding of the gums doesn't resolve, and it acts as a risk factor in the day-to-day life of the menstruator. Obviously, they need to visit a dentist where the pathological source of infection, that is the dental plaque calculus, is removed by the professional teeth cleaning, which we call it as scaling. In some cases where there is oversensitivity and overreactivity of the gums in response to the hormonal changes, there is a lot of swelling also is observed, like as I have discussed, that is the puberty gingivitis. In those conditions, gum therapy is very much indicated, where the dentist evaluates, diagnoses the situation, and accordingly with the minimally invasive surgical procedures like laser and all, they do the gum therapies. And obviously the counseling is also very much required because due to the hormonal variations, lot of coping mechanisms occurs, and this counseling acts as a supporting aid to enable the menstruator to cope up with all the changes, physiological and psychological changes occurring during that stage. So after the pivotal stage, next we can I'll be sharing regarding the various oral health changes that takes place during the menstrual cycle. So during the menstrual cycle, there is another symptom and which we can see clinically, that is a menstruation gingivitis. And this is also similarly like in the pubertal stage. During the menstrual cycle, there is always a spike in the levels of estrogen and progesterone. So the various symptoms manifest in our mouth like bright red, swollen gums, which are very sensitive to touch and even brushing also. There is a lot of sensitivity of the gums and there is a bleeding gums. So when does this menstruation gingivitis takes place? So it usually starts a day, 1 or 2 days before the start of the menstrual cycle, and it ends shortly after the period starts. So usually the duration of the menstruation gingivitis is around 3 to 4 days. So a menstruator during the menstrual cycle also tend to use the oral contraceptive pills, which are commonly called as the birth control pills. And so these birth control pills also tend to make a greater impact on the oral mouth and the various tissues of the oral cavity, because these birth control pills contain progesterone, and this progesterone hormone impacts the physiological structure of the tissues of the mouth, that mainly the gums. So the what symptoms can we expect due to this impact of these birth control pills? So we can see the inflamed gum tissues, as I had mentioned earlier, that we refer to as gingivitis. And this progesterone also causes, like, it impacts the secretion of the salivary gland. So the amount of the saliva that is produced by the salivary gland decreases, which leads to a dry mouth. So whenever there is a dry mouth, whenever there is a salivary reduction, decrease in the salivary flow, it leads to the increased risk of tooth decay and also the gum diseases. And another most important impact of this birth control pills on menstruators is it causes a dry socket. So dry socket is a technical term, so that whenever a menstruator gets any extraction or removal of the tooth due to any reason, that might be the excessive, like tooth decay or any gum diseases. So once a tooth is extracted, usually the normal healthy menstruator, it tends to heal within like 7 to 10 days. But when a patient is using these oral contraceptive pills, if that is not informed to the dentist, it leads to the formation of a dry socket in majority of the cases after the extraction. So it is basically the non-healing of the socket, whatever from where the tooth is removed after the tooth removal. So it is very important that any patient taking this birth control pills should inform the dentist prior to the treatment that they are having taking this medication, and according to this, the dentist will be modifying the treatment procedure, and the various antibiotics also given during the treatment procedure, because these birth control pills tend to interact with the various antibiotics which are usually prescribed after the dental procedures. And one more interesting study which have been getting importance in the recent years is, many researchers have evidence that the use of this birth control pills, that is a synthetic estrogen, they can lead to the decreased levels of natural estrogen. So what happens is, whenever the natural estrogen levels is decreased, it impacts the joint of her this jaws, that is the temporomandibular joint. It causes the osteoarthritis of these joints, so it also causes the pain and the movement disorders of this TFJ. So how do we manage in the patients who are taking these birth control pills? So as I had earlier mentioned, that we need to inform the dentist that we have been taking this medication. According to that, the dentist will be modifying whatever the treatment medication he or she has been suggesting during the treatment procedure, so that it does not interact with the effectiveness of this birth control pills. So moving forward with the various oral health changes that occurs in pregnancy. So here the main cause of the hormonal variation which occurs during this stage of pregnancy is increased levels of progesterone and estrogen. These are the main sex hormones. So what symptoms do we expect in a menstruator at the pregnant stage? So the main two conditions which are usually, like 70% of the patients we have seen during the pregnancy, that is with the pre-existing gum diseases of pregnancy gingivitis, and in few patients with pregnancy tumor. So pregnancy gingivitis is nothing but again the swelling of the gums and the reddish discoloration of the gums, which they are more sensitive and susceptible to bleeding. So during the normal brushing or even eating also, they tend to bleed. And next is the pregnancy tumor, which we can see usually in the front teeth, gums of the front teeth, starting from this interdental papilla. So this is usually pregnancy tumor is totally non-carcinogenic. it is a localized tumor, but it usually whenever the patient tends to eat or brush, it interferes with the daily functioning or daily functioning. So it is whenever it becomes severe, the patient needs to visit the dentist and get the treatment accordingly. Like with we have today, we have various minimally invasive procedures like laser. So these pregnancy tumors, they can be simply excised with those laser techniques. The third and most important risk of this pre-existing gingivitis in pregnant women is whenever there is a presence of the gum disease in pregnant women, there is increased risk of premature and low birth weight babies. This has been proved through hundreds of studies which have been conducted over the last decade. And always, like whenever there is a pre-existing gum diseases in the menstruator, there was always an increased risk of low birth weight babies post delivery. And one more important aspect is if the menstruator is having like the existing periodontal disease, that is a gum disease, they are also having a higher chances of developing a breast cancer. This is also a recent study which have been proved in multiple cohorts of pregnant women. And so this is very, keeping in this mind, it is very important for the menstruator to have a very good oral hygiene care and prenatal checkups with the dentist to decrease all the risk rising from the improper oral hygiene and the pre-existing gum diseases during the pregnancy and also the post pregnancy. So as I had told, dental evaluation is very important for every woman as a part of the prenatal care, and frequent visit to the dentist is recommended, and the safe period for the dental procedures during the pregnancy in the first, second, and third trimester, second trimester, when compared to the first and third trimester. And obviously, especially in the pregnancy phase, apart from the oral hygiene, a very healthy diet is also very crucial factor in maintenance of the oral health. And I'll be discussing in detail regarding the importance of the diet and nutrition in the oral health in the later part of the session. So the next phase of the menstruator, that is the menopausal stage, which usually occurs like menopausal is widely categorized into three stages like pre-menopausal, perimenopausal, menopausal, and post-menopausal. So during the menopausal stage, which usually starts around like 48 to 49 years, to 55 years, there is like gradual decrease in the levels of the estrogen. So this decrease in the levels of estrogen is the main reason for the various symptoms and it's actually risk factor for various diseases occurring during this stage. So what are the symptoms during the menopausal stage? Like usually we see the dry mouth. Again, as I have told, estrogen also affects on the salivary glands, and when there is a decreased levels of the natural estrogen, the salivary flow and salivary production is decreased. As a result, it leads to the dry mouth. So whenever there is a dry mouth, there is an increased risk of causing of tooth decay and gum diseases in the menstruator. And we have especially the altered taste also during the menopausal stage, that is also like linked to the decreased salivary production. And usually the taste altered is salty, peppery, or sour food. And there is also a burning mouth in about burning sensation in the mouth. This is, we call it the burning mouth syndrome also. And this is also directly due to the decreased level of estrogen acting on the gum tissues and the tongue and the various parts of the oral cavity, was producing this sensation in the mouth. And other symptoms, other than the dry mouth and the burning mouth, it is like increased sensitivity to hot and cold foods. And as I have told, due to the decreased salivary production, there is an increase in the tooth decay. And then, since like estrogen, normal estrogen tends to like maintain the levels of the healthy bone. So whenever there is a decrease in the natural levels of the estrogen, it leads to the bone loss, is osteoporosis, and so the main support of the tooth is from the gums and the underlying bone. So whenever there is a decrease in the level of the bone, the support of the tooth is decreased, and as a result, the tooth becomes mobile. And due to the mobility of the tooth, the further stage is that there might be the tooth loss also due to the bone loss in the jaw. And one more important condition which the patients encounter in the menopausal stage is the menopausal gingival stomatitis. This is nothing but all over the mucosa in the oral cavity, and especially the gums, they become pale, dry, and they are more prone to bleeding, and they become more sensitive. And all these variations are brought about by the decreased levels of the estrogen. So how do we manage all these, like what all variations that occurs due to the decreased level of estrogen during the menopausal stage? That is done by the professional regular oral assessments by the dentist. Once in 3 to 4 months, that you have to get the professional teeth cleaning, that is the scaling done, and also the evaluation of any presence of caries or any other gum diseases present in the patient. And also we have to, at any stage of our life, we have to like follow the effective oral hygiene, which is a basic foundation for the maintenance of a proper oral health. And in case if the oral symptoms are severe, we can consult the physician and also like take suggestions regarding the hormonal replacement therapy. So I had discussed regarding the various changes we encounter during the various stages. Till now, that is the pubertal stage, during the menstrual cycle, during the menopause, and also what happens when we take the birth control pills, and during pregnancy, what all precautions should we should take. The common factor like binding all these phases in our life is the main concept is we need to maintain the proper oral hygiene. Once if the oral hygiene is only not maintained, the risk of these hormonal variations on our oral cavity tends to like increase for 10 times, 20 times more severe. So first, there are 5 components of a good oral hygiene maintenance for everyone. That is like brushing, rinsing, flossing, tongue scraping, and gum massage. So I'll be discussing about each and every protocol. Like how should we do it? First, starting with the brushing, we need to brush twice daily, at least for 2 to 3 minutes, with a soft to medium bristle toothbrush. There are like bristle toothbrush also, which have been usually I recommend for the sensitive patients having a severe sensitivity who has like severe loss of enamel and dentin. For those patients, ultra soft brushes are recommended. But usually for daily basis, people with no sensitivity issues, medium to soft bristle toothbrushes are recommended. And always, it's advisable to change the toothbrush once in 3 to 4 months. And anytime we have a flu or cold or any viral infection, the bacteria and the virus tend to stay in the bristles of the toothbrush. So it is very important to change the toothbrush whenever we have any oral infection or any viral infection or cold, so that we don't have the recurrence of those infections again from the bristles of the toothbrush. So the brushing usually removes whatever the food materials and the bacteria that is there, that is the dental plaque, from the surfaces of the tooth, that is the front and the back surface. Flossing is the main step, which is equally as important as brushing, because it tends to remove the whatever the source of infection is there between the teeth. So brushing, if we do only brushing, it comprises of the 50% of the oral hygiene routine. So flossing also equally important, and I suggest we need to do the flossing twice daily, after brushing in the morning and the night before going to the bed. And this helps in the cleaning of the interdental areas. Usually, that is the place where a lot of food materials tend to stuck, and that gives rise to the infection over it, building up the dental plaque and the cavities. So rinsing, after brushing and flossing, rinsing is a very important step, because this is normal rinsing with water. Because whenever we eat anything, many food particles tend to stick on the surfaces of the tooth, and subsequently on them, bacteria will be like forming the colonies, giving rise to the dental plaque, and after which gets calcified to form a layer of dental calculus, and it leads to all the dental infections, that is the gum diseases, and gingivitis, periodontitis, I was discussing about. So in order, if we want to prevent the formation of all this pellicle, dental plaque and the dental calculus, simply we have to rinse with water whenever we eat anything. Especially we have breakfast, lunch and dinner. After every meal, it's recommended we rinse with water, so whatever the food materials are stuck on the teeth, they are easily flushed out, and there is no nidus for the infection for the bacteria to spread on the surfaces of the teeth. And I don't recommend like regular use of mouthwashes, because regular use of mouthwashes tend to have its own side effects. So, but whenever a dentist prescribes it after like a scaling or any other treatment procedures, for a limited amount of period, you can use the mouthwashes uh, twice daily. For usually, it's recommended for the duration of 1 week to 2 weeks. Yeah, tongue scraping is also very important. Like we have metal and plastic tongue scrapers, but usually the metal tongue scrapers have the sharp margins. So usually plastic tongue scrapers are recommended, and we have to brush, floss, and then just scrape the tongue, because the tongue is a source. It forms a huge source of infection due to the presence of the taste buds, and we have like multiple depressions in on the surface of the tongue. So a lot of bacteria tend to grow over there. So unless we scrape the tongue, even after maintaining the perfect brushing and flossing technique, also people tend to complain about the bad breath. And this main cause of the bad breath is due to the bacteria that is growing on our tongue. So it is very important to scrape the tongue properly, thoroughly. At least spend like 30 seconds to 1 minute after brushing and flossing every day, twice daily. One more important aspect is people are generally aware of like rinsing, flossing, brushing, tongue scraping, but another important technique for maintaining the proper gum health, that is the gum massage. Gum massage is nothing but you just take the forefinger and place it over the gums and just move it in the circular motion. So in the all the gums, if the forefinger is placed on the gums, it's just light pressure, mild pressure is applied, and just you tend to rotate on the gums from all the surfaces, like upper and lower teeth also, outside gums and inner aspect of the gums. So what happens is when we massage the gums, it basically increases the blood circulation of the gums, and whenever there is an increase in blood circulation, it improves the immunity of the gums. So the higher the immunity of the gums, the less is the risk of developing a gum infection, and the gum becomes more healthier and stronger. So these are daily four like basic techniques we need to follow. That is the brushing, flossing, rinsing, and chewing properly. And I'll be telling regarding the importance of chewing. Chewing is also very important, because the food we eat, if we do not chew it adequately and thoroughly, it doesn't get digested properly, and a lot of issues, gut issues, occurs with improper chewing of the food. So I always counsel my patients, like apart from the maintenance of the proper oral hygiene, chewing the food is very essential, and also the diet they are taking, the nutrition and the diet which we daily follow for our daily to daily basis, that also makes a major impact on the oral health of everyone. So, as I have told, diet plays a very important role in the oral health, because this is like a statement which I 100%, 1000% I abide by and agree to. That is, you are what you eat, because whatever we eat, whatever the nutrition we gain from the food, that is like penetrated in each and every cell of ours. So if we eat the junk, and if we eat like improper food which is unhealthy, obviously that same thing manifests as various disorders and disease. And if we eat a healthy food which is ethically sourced from which is devoid of any adulteration with pesticides or free of any chemicals, and which is safe to consume. Obviously, the benefits we take from the healthy diet, like it can be manifested in like every aspect of our body. So, coming to further, especially the nutrients for the formation of the healthy teeth and the gums for maintaining the gum health and the tooth health. vitamins like vitamin D, vitamin K, vitamin A are very important, and also vitamin C is especially important for the maintenance of the gum health. And minerals are very important like magnesium and collagen. Collagen is basically forms a major part of our tooth, like gums and other parts of the oral cavity. And even the probiotics is also very important for maintaining the adequate proportion of the good bacteria present in our oral cavity. See, our oral cavity has like almost like 6 billion of bacteria on our teeth, gums, tongue, on various surfaces of the mouth. So there are good bacteria and the bad bacteria. Good bacteria helps us in helping maintain the immunity of the mouth and maintaining the health of the various tissues of the mouth. Whereas the bad bacteria are the reason for the causing the toothache and the gum diseases. So the probiotics make the shift from the bad bacteria to the good bacteria, which helps in maintaining the health of the gums, tooth, and overall the oral cavity. So always recommend like if whatever we are eating, our plate of meal, any meal should be comprised of majority of major portion should be of healthy foods only. That is like fruits and vegetables, followed by the considerable part of proteins and considerable part of carbohydrates. And yes, of course, like many a times we tend to get attracted to the junk food also because it is sometimes difficult to like overcome the sugar craving. That time obviously we can like include minimal part of the junk food like sweets or foods containing sugar. So that can be included in our diet, but we need to follow the oral hygiene protocol thoroughly. Like oral hygiene maintenance should be done properly so that whatever the negative effects you are deriving from these foods can be like minimized. So I like to conclude with this statement. This is like a very powerful statement that oral health is like a mirror to the overall body and it equals the overall health. So I would like to request every menstruator like you become aware of what all changes are occurring during various phases in our life and how to maintain the oral hygiene protocols properly, and also visit the dentist like regularly so that whatever the diseases are occurring in our oral cavity, that is the gum diseases or tooth diseases, they can be like diagnosed in earlier stage, and we can go for the preventive treatment, preventive care rather than getting like the diseases to the ultimate final stage and getting them treated. So, like I do the online consultations for the dental issues and also the nutrition guidance for all my patients at the clinic and also for all the patients outside. So, whoever is interested and whoever has queries regarding the dental hygiene maintenance or dental issues, they're facing any dental issues or regarding the nutrition also, just feel free to contact me. I'm available on all the social media handles, and here you can check it out. Like whenever you're like you're having any queries, just you can feel free to reach me out.
Thank you so much, Dr. Divya. It was a very informative session.
Yes, Neha.
Um, if I can think of one set of people hate to come more than they hate to come to doctors are dentists, I think. Like,
Yes, yes.
yeah,
But that's what I told. The awareness should increase. Like if we tend to neglect the diseases, whatever is like happening in our oral cavity, just we see that the one gum is bleeding, or one tooth is aching, and we tend to like neglect. It will decrease, बस कम हो जाएगा. But that thing, that mentality should be like wiped out. And whenever like we feel any discomfort, slight sensitivity also, then it's an indication that our body is trying to signal us there is something wrong in that part of the body or the tooth. So we have to like contact the professional for that.
yeah. And I urge people to contact Dr. Divya if they need to, and for any queries, all the on the handles will be put on the description box later. Since we don't have any questions, Dr. Divya, I will thank you for your time. For 1 hour you spent with us and explaining exactly what we need to look at and especially in the life cycle perspective, that during puberty, when you're menstruating, in pregnancy and menopause, both very enforced. So thank you so much for your time, and we hope to see you again.
Happy to connect with you, Dr. Sneha. And yes, anyone from the Ori Kalankini group can approach me regarding the queries about the dental issues or any nutrition issues. I'll be happy to help them out.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yeah.